I'm bored. Wow, the Simpsons Game manual. Oh goody, let's see what's inside. Hopefully something decent.
Eventually.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing in this game is remotely decent. Everything in this game is mediocre, from its style, gameplay and comedy, in which over the years the Simpsons have fallen from the platform of being the best cartoon out there. Lucky there's a Family Guy.
Ghost.
Let's talk about games and frames. The Simpsons Game, one awful way to leave the industry with this last game. Everyone and their mother know who the Simpsons are, whether from the east, west, north, south, and in the middle, hot and cold, Bedouin or Eskimo. Hey, you know who the Simpsons are? Sorry, I'm Canadian, eh? Ah shit, I must took the wrong turn. Ay caramba. Anyways, chances are you know who Homer is or Bart. The show, from what I remember when I watched it, it was funny. It teaches you values of family before Vin Diesel did, and it teaches you that you can strangle your own son unapologetically. I still remember some episode vaguely, like with the episode with Lisa and Bart, when Bart was being nice to Lisa, giving her his ice cream when hers fell on the floor, and Lisa meets with Bleeding Gums Murphy and he sang that awful Lisa birthday song. If you don't know, look it up. And there's many more, but then this series never stops. It's still continuing now, and because of The Simpsons being the longest running show, eventually it will run out of ideas. Hence why now The Simpsons, instead of teaching you values and making you laugh with gags and jokes, it now became a sheep following a trend to stay relevant, dropping Apu because he's a stereotype Indian who owns his own business, the Quickie Mart. I personally never had an issue with that because he has his own business in where he's his own boss. Sure, you see brown people own convenience stores and Chinese people, but I don't really understand the issue. Well, someone did and they complained to get him removed, and it happened. You know, I'm thankful that the creators for The Simpsons created my favourite series, Futurama, because that's where the creator can use his freedom of thinking and using ideas to create good episodes, you know, rather than being in shackles by the suits above. Now how this game came to be goes like this. As far as I'm concerned, out of the Simpson games that I've played, which are Simpson Wrestling, Road Rage and Hit and Run, this is second of that list, which range from good to bad, the good being Hit and Run and the bad being Wrestling. It isn't saying much because I said nearly all the games are bad. They're basically a parodies of other titles, like Road Rage is Crazy Taxi, Simpson Skateboarding is Tony Hawk Skateboarding, and Hit and Run is kinda not parody of GTA, because compared to the game that are a copy of each other's, this felt different to GTA, so for me Hit and Run felt like a true perfect Simpson game that everyone needed, and unfortunately there isn't a sequel in sight, or remastered / remake. So the idea for the Simpsons game is kinda like, we needed a new Simpson title after Hit and Run. The writer for the Simpsons show wanted to create a new game that'll appeal to the fans of the show, and the writer for the TV show also wrote the storyline for the Simpsons game, and the writers are Tim Long, Matt Selman and Matt Warburton. One thing that pisses me off is this, the name of the game right here. It's dumb. I'm just tired of saying the Simpsons game, whether I'm talking about this one or the previous one from before. It's confusing. One of the writers, Matt Selman, said that they wanted a fresh new start for the game, a fresh new take on video game, which is funny because this was the last Simpson that came out. God, I hate this title. The game came out in late 2007 for multiple consoles like Nintendo DS, Nintendo Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, PSP and PlayStation 3, and I played it on PS3 version, and in hindsight it shouldn't even be on this new console system. At that time it should have been meant for the PlayStation 2. It was published by EA and developed by 3 developers for different systems. For the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 version, it was EA Redwood Shores. The PlayStation 2, PSP and the Wii version, it was Rebellion Developments, and the Nintendo DS version, it was Kryptonite Games. Yeah, I'm just gonna be focusing on the PlayStation 3 version. I'm sure that the last gen version or handheld version, the DS, are different, like certain missions are taken out, like the Medal of Homer and Grand Theft Scratchy level, due to time constraints. I do remember the PSP being the same as the PlayStation 3 in terms of missions and story, just toned down graphics. And speaking about graphics, the Simpsons game looks awful. I don't like it. It's cel shaded, giving the feeling of The Simpsons, but it's immersion breaking because one of the main selling points of The Simpsons game is that it has unique 40 minutes of animation, and in some cutscene they intertwine the animation with the in-game graphics, and it's bad. Like Homer's comb over. The models for the character move so stiff, like they're all robotic. Even Marge's hair has more sway than all this garbage. Just compare this to Hit and Run and you see which one is superior in terms of movement and fluidity for the cast of the show. I will give the developers credit. Lisa's hair looks a lot better than Hit and Run Lisa. Even though this game is 3D, Lisa's hair is rendered as 2D to give the look that Lisa's hair doesn't look like Iron Maiden, which the devs did have difficulty to implement and render her hair. And another thing before I move on, The Simpsons has a different version of each cover of the game, with Homer taking the center stage, getting eaten alive. In terms of the gameplay, there isn't anything to boast about. is really generic, having some faults here and there. Each one of the Simpsons family have different styles to their gameplay, implementing their own characters into it. The Simpsons Game is a linear action platformer where you platform.
Now, what would a platform game be without platforms?
Yep, thank you, Boobcat. The problem I have whenever a company does a platforming stuff is, are they going to focus on that or something else? Like whenever you jump, will you land on the other side? Or will it just be another bullshit like Kingdom Hearts Tarzan level? Well, I can say that the issue I had was the camera, because mostly it got stuck underneath the ground and I had to adjust it while in battle. Not that it got me into trouble, but I shouldn't do that in the first place. Even God himself needed a manual for the camera, as he doesn't know how it works, and the game in of itself is an open world. It's broken into 16 missions plus one that is kinda open world-ish, where you explore Springfield, and the other is to choose 4 missions to play later on. It's on the chapter select, but you can't play it, so in total there's 18 missions. As for the family, first we start with the father of every household, the fat, stupid, adorable, hummus Homer. Now what's the first thing you think of when you see Homer? No, not his beady eyes. No, not his thin zigzaggy hair. Okay, he's fat. Okay, he's fat. There's no best way to say it. The devs use his big bone fatness and use it as his ability. Before that, one quick thing. The fight combat is just fisting everywhere, hoping for it to hit someone, but it's weak, so I just spam every ability that was available. So Umer's ability is that he can expand into a giant ball, like Choji expansion jutsu, without eating the red chili pepper balls. Well, now that I think about it, Homer would actually eat about 30 of them, just because. Homer giant ball can roll, boost roll, which is useful because everyone walks super slowly and it can attack whoever is in the way. You can jump and slam down breaking objects that will advance a mission, or to break crates, and inside the crates for Homer is food that will replenish his meter to use his ability attacks. Not only can Homer expand, he can turn into green gummy goo from the Halloween special, and you wouldn't even realize you had this ability because it isn't brought up. And this version of Homer can shoot grenades out of his mouth. In one of the levels, I randomly ate something that makes Homer immune to lava flows, and one last Homer fat ball thing is that he can inhale helium, and with this he becomes a balloon to float in the air for a short period of time, and Homer's voice becomes squeaky. His other not so special power is that Homer can burp that will stun his enemies for a free attack. The next is Bart, everyone's favourite rascal, and I was shocked when I found out for the first time that he was voiced by a woman, and don't tell me you were shocked as well. And I'm not talking about this era of soft crying little shits, I'm talking about when I found out during 2005 and so, man, I was shocked. So Bart's ability is that he can become Batman, or should I say Bartman. In terms of combat, he doesn't do anything. It's just visually appealing. The only thing it does is that you can glide off of high ledges. Bart has some gadgets that will help him platform some of the levels, like he has grappling hook to reach impossible places and zipline across platform that you can't jump across. Unfortunately, the devs didn't fully utilize the Bartman gimmick, like using smoke bombs or Batarang that can hit multiple targets on point. Bart's special power / weapon is holding his iconic slingshot that can sling the shot, and holding circle will send even more powerful shots, breaking multiple boxes in your way. Each level Bart has new ammo to use, like using standard balls, 2 coins, 2 rubber bands and more. In some levels, Bart can use special power-ups which give you a limited meter to use. So for Homer it was turning into a red fat ball, and for Bart is becoming bootlegged Robocop in where you shoot laser beams. The third family players is Lisa, the social justice warrior of the Simpsons, and her ability is to use the hand of Buddha to pick up objects and place them to create paths or drop them on someone. Later on in the game, Lisa can flick, freeze and summon lightning, but the thing is about her Buddha powers is that you cannot use them without finding the Buddha statue that are scattered throughout the level. Her special power is using her musical instrument, the saxophone. This attack is good for stunning enemies and making them turn on each other, giving you space to breathe. Inside the boxes, when you break them, you find the lotus flower that's for Lisa, and picking up will refill the meter. Her power up thing is a book that makes her super strong environmentalist superhero. Lisa punches are one shot to any unfortunate souls who came in contact to it. To be honest, they probably were anti-feminist. And the last of the family with the least amount of playtime is Marge, the raspy voice and very erect hair. And Marge in this game is like every politician. Video games are bad and video games make you go crazy. It's all bullshit standard hoax. Instead of focusing on real tangible issues, instead they focus on inanimate things. Anyways, back to the game. Marge doesn't have any special abilities like Fat Homer, Bartman or Enlightenment Lisa. Instead she has a megaphone as a power that will rally up a mob to do her bidding, using their own ignorance to stop violent video games. The mob can fix objects like scraps, repair objects like buildings, break down things to reveal a path, and using the mob to overwhelm enemies. Marge does have a power up in where she becomes a police officer. When you play as Marge, you'll use the megaphone a lot, so make sure to break the crates to find batteries inside. And one quick thing that's useful, when you kill the enemies, blue orbs will come out of them, which slowly refills the meter, but not by a lot, so it's best to collect unique refill items for each family. Maggie is also playable for certain segments. Marge neglects her baby into the vents for Maggie to press a button with the dummy. Each one of the families have their own collectible. Homer has a Duff bottle cap, Bart has Krusty card, Lisa has Malibu Stacy ticket, and Marge has Itchy and Scratchy card. There are challenges to complete called cliches, and these challenges are like using key cards, opening doors, reused enemies. Well, it's not challenges per se, it's just finding tropes that are in video games. Moreover than that, there is a replayability value in the form of time trial, but the time to beat is ridiculous. I couldn't be bothered as I know I won't get rewarded for trying it in the first place. This game is really short, like 4 hours short. Like, where's the replayability factor? I know I talk about time trials, but really? You just buy the game, play it, dump it off for the next one, and that's it. It's forgettable. At least I have classic staple Simpson music when you start the game, and that's all I can say about it. The soundtrack is decent, I guess. My favourites are the ones that where you have to get 4 keycards from different levels, like the Hobbit level, Medal of Honor, the Japanese level, and the Invasion of Springfield, where the alien kidnapped Cletus. But it's nowhere near hit and run soundtrack. The gameplay isn't the main staple of this game at all. It's the animation and the parody that abuses to all hell. So much so that I forgot why the Simpsons were even good in the first place. In a weird sense, it reminded me of Deadpool and Gintama. I'm not saying that Simpsons is better than those because god no it isn't at all. Not even early episodes. So what does this game parody? Well, Simpsons is already teamed up with EA as the developer and publisher, so naturally they're gonna use EA well-known IP to parody, and there's just too many to list. So here we go. These are the ones I noticed. Some are Easter eggs, some are built in a level in of itself. So we have Medal of Honor, Grand Theft Auto, Shadow of the Colossus, Mario, Sonic, Ghost Recon, Need for Speed, Madden, Command & Conquer, God of War, Dance Dance Revolution, Sims, and Mortal Kombat Deception. Those were the video game parodies. It didn't stop there as they parodied movies as well, such as Matrix, Around the World in 80 Days, Terminator, and The Hobbit / Lord of the Rings. This game is very self-aware, even mocking EA as being a corporate greedy asshole, which nowadays isn't a surprise. You can say that it was predicted, like the Simpsons show always does. And making fun at Madden for being a copy and paste game, and that pretty much same goes to FIFA. I didn't find it funny, I just found it sad, really. The other company didn't have any issues with this game making fun of other franchises, except for Rockstar. They didn't take too kindly over Grand Theft Scratchy, which shocked me as I wasn't expecting Rockstar to do that. EA had to remove content from the game when other video game companies complained about it, and to be honest I was expecting Nintendo to complain and trying to take some of their levels down. But no, they didn't. The reception it had when it was released was mixed, as most people liked the funny humour, writing, and many parodies. One odd thing was praising the visual aesthetic. It looks good for the PS2 but awful for the PlayStation 3. It sold 4 million copies, which is good. However, it was throughout multiple consoles, not just one, and this was in 2008. The Simpsons Game received an award for being the best game based on a movie or TV show in 2007 at the Spike Video Game Awards, and was nominated for being best written. My. This game did well for being a Simpsons game, even outselling Hit and Run. Unfortunately, the sequel was cancelled by EA because the company wanted to focus on other projects at that time. I'm shocked that this game did well, given the fact it was on mostly major consoles. Simpsons Hit and Run sold 3 million, so put that into perspective. So since this game was nominated for being the best written, let's see what the story is like. I'm just going to give a brief summary of each level, or the plot that I remember, or jot it down. The story starts with the family on the couch and Homer snoring with his mouth wide open, dreaming a chocolatey dream. Chocolate. In the first level, you chase around a white chocolate bunny, teasing Homer to eat his ass. So that's what Homer does, eat his ass. But as soon as his eyes climax, he wakes up cursing the world. Bart goes into a video game store to try and purchase Grand Theft Scratchy. He bribes a clerk with the money to try to get the game since Bart isn't of age. Yeesh. If only it was that easy. However, Marge finds Bart and takes the video game away from him, you know, being God save the children and all. And all of a sudden, the manual for the game falls from the heaven and into the alleyway, where Bart finds it and reads through the pages. He discovers that his family has unique powers, so Bart and Homer test that theory by going into the sewers, and the sewers is connected to the museum, and the museum is being raided by 3 bullies, Jimbo, Kearney, and the other guy, that were sent by Principal Skinner to steal something from the science class. Nice. setting the example for the troubled teenage kids. Homer enters an eating contest, eating food from different countries, America, Scotland, France, etc. You turn into a big giant ball and roll to the food, and surprise, Homer wins the contest. Lisa, alongside Bart, tries to put her power into good use by stopping Mr. Burns' deforestation project and putting dozens of lumberjacks out of a job. You win some, you lose some. Marge rallies up a mob to try to stop Grand Theft Scratchy from being released when she reads about Mayor Quimby soaking up to EA producers. Yikes. Given the surprise mechanics is really out there. Anyways, the producers stop to deal with the mayor when there's a mob full of angry parents outside destroying the property to try and prove a point that violence stems from video game and it needs to stop. I mean, poor Flanders had his car stolen by this nerdy kid after being exposed to the game. Lisa does point out the hypocrisy, but Marge brushes that aside because she got what she wanted. God save the children. At the home of the Simpsons, the family talk about their cool powers and how they can use the power for the greater good, but the whole family argues. While outer space, Kang and Kodos are planning an invasion to Earth and turning everything into a Halloween special. Oh goody, I love Halloween specials. They're like the best episodes to watch. My favourite being the parody of The Shining, when Homer scares himself shitless when he looks in the mirror. Bart and Lisa visit Professor Frink because the powers aren't strong enough for the aliens, so inside his house there's a portal that transports them into a place called the Cheat Engine. Frink has a strategy guide to cheat the system but is abducted by Donkey Kong. Sonic? What happened to you? Oh my god, this is where he was. He was stuck inside the Simpsons video game. No wonder his games are so shit. And on top of that, he's a drug addict. Oh god, we gotta help this poor hedgehog.
I have not seen a mushroom in so long.
Mario 2? Oh shit. Not the most iconic mascot of video game franchise of all time. Why? Oh my god, I've seen enough Nightmare for one day. After fighting every bootleg version of iconic characters like Ryu, Bart and Lisa save Frink from the ape, collect the guide, go home via the portal, and Frink stays behind to shack a turtle. What more can be said? Now this is where the Halloween starts. Bart and Lisa must stop the dolphin army and help the captain of the sea, Seamus. No, that's Family Guy. I don't know his name. But they both beat the king of the dolphins in the aquarium, and the captain breaks the fourth wall because he's surprised of the amount of screen time he has. Bart and Homer then have to destroy the large donut statue that came to life by destroying the panels at the back. Homer then proceeds to punch it in the shiny metal balls, if it has any. Then in the mall, Cletus is abducted by the aliens and is anal probed in the void hole. After saving him, he helps the gang to defeat the aliens. At the end of the level, Sideshow Bob emerges from the pod but is ultimately taken out by a rake. When all that is done, the boss appears to the Simpsons, the one-eyed alien Kang and Kodos. They both destroy Springfield when Bart idiotically points out their weakness. Whenever they shoot 3 or 4 times, a hatch opens up. Lisa then has the ideas to search for clues by using the internet since the guide is out of options. Homer, for some stupid reason, decides to place the beer can on the disc holder and it falls, zapping the family into the game engine itself. There, they meet Will Wright, the developer of Sim and SimCity.
You can't do this! Of course I can! I'm Will Wright, bitch!
Oh my jeebus, a swear word. He's destroying all video games, and one of those video games is the Simpsons game with the 8-bit version of the Simpsons family in there who you have to rescue. Will also claims that when a new Simpsons game comes out, they will become obsolete and destroyed by Will himself. Saving the 8-bit family, they too will say the same thing, except way funnier, and this dialogue just made me sad.
But what about when the Xbox 720 comes out, or the PlayStation 4?
For you is that easy. Right, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S, and Xbox One. Huh? Get out of here. I'm talking about the Xbox One. See? Not confusing at all. At least that's one thing that the PlayStation got it right. The Simpsons family need to find the creator of the game. However, they need to find keycards from 4 different worlds in order to open the gate of the creator. First level, Marge and Homer visit the land of the Hobbits and kills the 2-headed dragon, Fatty and Smelmer. This level is very video gamey with 2D Mario Donkey Kong section and over the top old school dungeon section. It's really good when playing it, if not for the camera. Second level, Marge and Lisa turns the game Grand Theft Scratchy into a PG advertisement friendly game, killing gangsters, pimps and hoes. Again, God save the children. And also Poochie is the final boss of this level, you dig? Third level, Grandpa really loves his privates.
Now good luck. You boys are my favorite privates, and you know how much I love my privates. My privates mean everything to me. Please God, don't let anything happen to my privates.
Okay, out of the whole game, this part right here made me laugh out loud. Speaking of which, where's more privates? Oh shit. This level is a spoof of Medal of Honor and is split into 3 parts. The first is to collect the white flags from the French because they're too soft, like baguettes. The second mission is to escort Abe and Burns to their destination in one piece, destroying tanks and shooting things along the way. The third mission is fighting Mr. Burns because he's now stolen the French painting that no doubt will become priceless in the future. Anyways, he's on airship with Smithers. Okay, this part you have the most difficult boss fight you ever faced, rivaling the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3 and the Orphan of Cause from Bloodborne. Who am I kidding? It's Burns. He can't even hold a toothbrush. Lisa and Homer travels to anime Japan to defeat Katamari Millhouse and free Mr. Sparkle from the Toiroto. And when you do, you need to collect keys to open new areas that are like Ice World and Fire World. The battles in this game are kinda like mock Pokemon battles. They don't last very long and you see some disturbing Pokemons. So after all that collecting 4 key cards, you're now allowed to enter the creator's mansion, Matt Groening. Or is it Groening? Doesn't matter as the author is confused himself.
Are you sure?
No.
Bart and Homer confronts him in his multi-billion-dollar mansion. Homer confuses him with Seth MacFarlane, who is the creator of Family Guy. Furious, he creates Bender and Dr. Zoidberg army to stop you, who are from Futurama. After defeating him, the family asks him why did he create a game when they will fall into obscurity. Groening didn't realize that the game would be awful, as he would have slapped the Simpsons name on merch, like mugs, TV and everything you can think of. He only did it to make money, that's all, and also he self-destructs the game itself. The Simpsons, alongside the others, return to Springfield, except more, poor more, and
I hope it's a spaghetti! Here we go!
ugh, poor Mario. Lisa, using her Buddha powers, makes the stairways to heaven that remind me of certain mobile game. This game is way ahead of its time. Anywho, at the Heaven's Gate you meet William Shakespeare and throw him out of the heavens. Then you meet Benjamin Franklin. When you kill him, he multiplies into a smaller version of himself, so it will take quite a while. Plus you fight enemies you encounter throughout the story, except for the Matrix thing. After that you meet God playing video game, as he himself is a gamer, blah blah blah. You face God in a DDR dance battle, dancing to Rock You Like a Hurricane, going through his collection of consoles like the PlayStation, Exodus Box and Nintendo Wii. For some reason I remember this part being hard on the PSP, as I never finished the game on the PSP as I borrowed the game from a friend. So with the groove gone, God reveals that I dropped the manual of the game by mistake and that the Simpsons are in a minigame inside God's Earth game. God wants to know what the Simpsons wants. Bart wants to keep the superpowers, Marge wants Springfield to be restored, Lisa wants games to be easy, and Homer wants 3 wishes. God complies and Lisa asks if God thinks he's a video game character. God scoffs at the idea. But then the camera pans out to the TV of Ralph playing the game of the Simpsons game. He walks towards the screens, knocking on the screen and screams to his dad that someone is watching him. And Finn, the story is over. And that's my review of the Simpsons game for the PlayStation 3. As a whole, this game isn't that great. Sometimes the writing can be funny and the animations are really nice to boot. And that's about it. The graphics is on the same league as PlayStation 2 The Simpsons skateboarding. Like there's no expression on the faces and the move all weird. Like the combat isn't that great, despite what the game thinks of itself. You know, breaking the 4th wall and all that. I like seeing Homer turn into Fat Homer and Bart turn into Bartman. But Marge and Lisa are just not fun to play as, or what their narrative is. Marge wants to stop valuing video games because God saved the children, and Lisa wants to save the world by doing the exact same thing that they're against. And I don't want to get into that argument because sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. The music in this game is classic, you can't go wrong there. I mean the opening part. But the mission soundtrack, like I said, it isn't better than Simpson Hit and Run. There's a shit ton of parodies I couldn't keep up with. And yeah, the Simpson Hit and Run is still the definitive game to play, no doubt about that. I just wish that we had a sequel. So with that being said, I've been AnimersiveXP. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hopefully you see me in the next video. Bye.
The dirt has prevailed. I have dishonored my ancestors.